Hello, Land of the Bible class. I have a very special guest with me today that I want you to meet. He was our Israeli guide over in Israel, and since we're studying the land of Israel, I thought we would get this so-called from the horse's mouth. This is a gentleman who really introduced me to the land and is able to bring scripture into his description of these different places. And he came to know Christ actually through the Jesus film of Campus Crusade for Christ, which is now called Cru. His name is Amir Tsarfati. He is a major in the IDF, and he has his own ministry now. In fact, if you would like to go on, go to the App Store, you can download Behold Israel. You are going to see a lot of videos of Amir. He actually takes you to the land. He will show you the land firsthand. But I want to ask him some questions about these American tourists who go over to the land of Israel and bother these Israelis over there. What should people know about the land of Israel? Why would anyone want to go there to begin with? Isn't it just a place of
war,
rocks and war and things like that?
I believe that Israel is almost the fifth gospel. In other words, the land itself speaks for itself. There is really there's no way you can really truly understand the Bible without getting to understand the geology, the topography, the geography, the culture of the people there. If I tell you that Jesus said, let's go to the other side, unless you understand the Sea of Galilee, and who lived where and what and why, you won't understand the term the other side. It was way beyond just geographical location. It's the other people, other gods, other worship, and they used to eat even the other thing.
Yes. Or if you're up north and he says, let's go up to Jerusalem, down south, you wonder, what's that all about?
Exactly. So my point is, the geography, the topography, the people, the culture, all of that will help you to understand the Bible, and will from experience of people that went to Israel with me, it will really make the Bible come alive. And it's no longer just a book, you have it in your mind, you have the picture of it, you have the understanding of all of it. And then of course, in the middle of such a hostile environment, to see such a thriving country, and to see such a lush and green and lush, also fruitful, and it's really a token of God's faithfulness and a wonderful way of seeing His promises coming to pass. So if it's not the topography and the geography, at least it's what you really see as far as how the land came back to life, that you understand how God is faithful to His promises to His people. Now,
one of the things that really surprised me as I was looking at the scriptures is that Israel was not Israel's choice.
Exactly.
The land was God's choice.
Exactly. The land was God's choice. He never asked Abraham, where exactly do you want to go? And Moses stuttered, he probably was about to say Canada, not Canaan. But as I said, God's choices are amazing, and many times, think about all the Gentiles that lived in the land, and God promised Moses, listen, tell the people of Israel, I'm going to take you into a land with very mighty Gentiles that live there. I mean, that's not a promising promise in a sense, but that is so He will be glorified, and He will be manifested, and His hand will be shown. And it was true then, as it is true now. We are still surrounded. We have Hezbollah in the north, and we have ISIS on the northeast, and we have Hamas in the south, and we have Jabhat al-Nusra, and we have a lot of friendly people all around us, yet you see that the only place in the entire region that prospers, that thrives, that is doing wonderful, we have the strongest economy in the Western Hemisphere. We have a strong currency. We have a booming economy. We have our stock market is skyrocketing. All of that to say that God is true to His promises, and the same way God protected and took care of us then, He's about to do that, and He is doing that now. And Israel is just a picture of His faithfulness that I believe every believer should have and carry with him as a token of insurance that God is going to be faithful to him as well.
Namir, what are one of the major surprises people have when they go over there? I mean, they get off the bus and, no, I should say get off the plane, get their baggage, get on the bus, and then off and down to Joppa or the next day up to...
I tell you what is the most amazing thing.
Okay.
Apart from the fact that whenever I travel around the world, people ask me, like, do you have TVs there? In other words, people really think it's the desert, and people, one of the major things that people sense when they get there is how peaceful it is.
Mm-hmm.
People feel that they even have more peace walking in the streets of Jerusalem at night than in the streets of downtown Dallas or San Antonio or Chicago or New York City. It is extremely peaceful. Now, of course, troubles happen all over the world, and it's also happening in our country, but the sense of security and safety is something that is hard to explain unless you are there. I can send my kids to the playground without having to go with them. It's something that not too many people have that privilege of doing. Now, another thing, they are amazed at the fact that it's not all desert. You know, we see amazing fields that are with trees that are just almost falling, you know, from the weight of so many fruits on them. We also see that we are quite modern. I mean, it's not a third world country, and it's not all desert, and you don't have to walk with some bulletproof vest and a helmet. I mean, it's really not only beautiful but also safe and secure, and
we were just talking about the high tech there.
Correct. Israel is of the leading countries in the world in high tech. We're called the startup nation, and we have this is the only country outside of let's say the United States where Apple has an R&D center. The only country outside of Korea that Samsung has an R&D center. The only place where Intel has more than 3 different plants across the country for the chips of computers. And Israel is quite innovative in water, in agriculture, in of course in nanotechnology, in fintech, in financial technology. We are leading in all of that. And even in your little phone, some of the most important functions of every cell phone are actually chips manufactured in Israel. So yes, we're not all about war and terror, and we're not all about Arabs and Jews and desert or all about hummus and pita and all. There's a lot there that many of you, if you ever come, you'll be surprised to see.
And I've never been afraid in Israel. I mean, I've always felt safe. Even when stuff was going on, you just really feel safe.
Yes.
Now, you are going around with giving lectures and prophecy, lectures from Ezekiel and other prophets, and yet you live in...
I live in the valley
of Armageddon.
Exactly.
And
let me show you more or less. If this is the map of Israel, you can see that there are several valleys around. But basically, Israel's topography is that you get the sea, the Mediterranean, then the coast, then the low hills, Shfela, and then the mountains of Judea, and then Samaria, and then Judea and Samaria is right here, and then Upper Galilee is here. But then you see the Dead Sea, which is the lowest spot on surface planet Earth, and that's it, the Jordan River. Israel is all the way this way. My house is in this valley right here. This is the valley of Jezreel, known also as the Armageddon Valley. I live a few miles away from Nazareth and a few miles away from the Mediterranean, and I intend to leave a note once I'm raptured for whoever is there staying behind to rent that house to the CNN so we can make some money on it. So that's basically where I live. I live in the most talked about and the most famous valley on planet Earth, It's a peaceful place. It's lush. It's green. It's amazing. We just inaugurated a new train track that is going right now across. In fact, it will start being operational next week. All the way
Wow.
from Beit Shean to Haifa, there's a brand new train tracks that will take you, and really amazing. And for some of you who haven't been to Israel for quite a few years, you won't recognize the roads and the trains that we've added in the last few years. And so I just invite you to come.
Now, the big question is the cost factor. Is it cost prohibitive? Because I know that some trips are like $5,000 or $6,000, but there are other trips you can take a lot cheaper.
Yes, it all depends. The biggest factor, the biggest component of a tour price is the hotels and the type of hotel and the number of nights you're staying. Everything else is pretty much the same. So it's up to you if you want a 5-star deluxe hotels and you want to stay 2 weeks, or you want to stay at a 4-star for 7 days. That is basically the reason for the big
And if
gap.
you have air miles, you can save a lot of money
Exactly.
on that.
Exactly. I mean, the price of the flight is not going to be too different between packages of tours. It's mostly the type of accommodation and the length of the stay.
Any one other thing you'd like to say to our class?
I warmly invite everyone to come. I believe that it starts with the heart, the desire of the heart, and it goes on to action. Your life will never be the same, and your understanding of the Bible will never be the same. Your faith will be deeper as a result of that visit. I've seen it thousands of times, and I'm sure it's going to be also with you guys. Do not believe to what the media shows. I call them the Medianites. I believe that much of it is deception and lies in order to rob you from the blessing of going there. So just be courageous, have faith, trust that the Lord will take care of you, and don't pass that opportunity to be in the land where it all began.
And one of the people in our church said, you know, I used to read the Bible in black and white, and now I read it in Technicolor, because
Exactly.
the Bible became so alive for them.
There is no better definition to what the transformation of reading the Bible is than that.
Well, class, I hope you really appreciated this opportunity to meet Amir, and I would encourage you to download that app, Behold Israel. Good talking with you. We'll be talking with you later on.